we was about to go.
We went.
My RPM gauge was in the red. But
yeah.
I don't feel like we really answered the question, man. That's why we're gonna get back to this, man. I wanted to hear what TP's saying when we saying what does the picture look like today for this hot subject of broken bougie.
Well, to be honest with you, the picture is still sad. It's a sad picture because pop culture has perpetuated to our community that it's okay to be broke and bougie, you know, because it's set up for us to fail. The game is set up for us to fail. You know what I mean? And being broken bougie is part of our failure because we don't have financial literacy. We don't have an understanding of generational wealth. Nothing. You know what I mean? Because how can you have generational wealth if you spend every dime you get on a design of something? You know, classic example. Like I said earlier, the poorest neighborhoods and the worst addresses in any city near you got the most expensive cars. How could we broken bougie? Rud, just a few weeks ago, remember I was talking to you on the phone? I said, Rud, you're not going to believe this. I said, yo, man, I'm in Irvington, New Jersey at a buy here, pay here place, and there's a Bentley GT Coupe in the parking lot. Buy here, pay here. Remember me and you had that conversation?
Yeah.
Why is that? Why is that?
Trying to catch you with Vic.
Because you and I both know that right now you can get a Bentley GT Coupe for 30,000, not even 30, maybe 40,000, right? You probably get like a 04, 05 for about 30,000, 40,000, right? But it's some joker in the hood right now that got that car because it's not on that lot anymore. You know what I mean? It's not on that lot anymore. That's the epitome of broken bougie because it's some kid living in Jersey, in Newark or Irvington or Hillside or East Orange or you know, that's driving this Bentley. That when they need a brake job, he can't pay $2,500 for that oil change, man. He can't pay $4,000 for the brake job because you can't change the brake pads without changing the rotors. It's a package deal. They don't sell the brakes without the rotors.
We all agreed on one thing. And I think that one thing that we did agree on was that a lot of it has to do with the social media and the music and the lyrics that they pumping in our head. Because you cannot say that that's not a successful way of marketing.
It's definitely a successful way of marketing.
Nobody can say "Can't Touch This" wasn't pushed in our head.
Absolutely.
We didn't hear that song the first time and be like, "Oh, he's the illest lyrics we ever heard." That's gonna hit number one. No, but every 5 minutes, "Can't Touch This."
Check it out, man. Check it out.
That was a marketing strategy.
I was just upstairs when they called me to the studio.
Studio A up there.
Yeah, Studio A. Young brother, man, Adachi. Shout out Adachi, man. Videographer, great. He does great work, man. This kid is barely over 21, and he's took 60 flights this year. He said, "Yo, I don't even carry luggage, you know, because it's just too much. I just take my video bag and as long as I got underclothes when I get there, I'll figure it out." That's the picture that's being. That's the picture that's being painted. He was talking about the women, you know, taking off. I was like, yeah, we were just downstairs and he's talking, you know, the ladies talking about how it's degrading for the women, you know, taking off their clothes. And he said, yo, you know what? He said, we live in a different world where, you know, women have 30, 40 men in their inbox.
Mm-hmm.
And these same women, they don't need the man for the money. So you got girls that are that's making $10,000 stripping a week, or bottle service a week. Just being, you know, the bottle girls, they're making $10,000 a week. So then, listen, I missed Woodstock, all right,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm pretty sure y'all brothers, you know, y'all was close to it. You know, we have to stop acting like the fig leaf hasn't been taken off a long time ago.
I miss Woodstock.
Okay.
I caught summer jams though.
Freak week.
Yeah, I caught the freak day,
Freak
the
Nick,
summer jams,
the Black College
You know what I'm
weekends.
saying?
college weekend,
Like we
Howard
try to-
homecomings. You know,
we try to. I don't like when we push this narrative of, you know, I like the 3/4 of cloth. You know what I'm saying? I like it because it's still revealing. It's all in the eyes. The eyes are the windows to the soul. You know what I mean? And yes, we should, in certain arenas, we should cover ourselves up. It's a code of conduct, but you know, a lot of those things were done to shame us from, you know, reproduction. You know what I mean? It'll shame us from wanting to build our culture up. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's a certain way to be classy, you know, and still be sexy, you know. But you know, I think the picture that's being painted, like Russ said, you know, is a blank canvas, and we work every day on that. We work every day on pushing the ball forward and painting that picture. You know, like to have these guys upstairs, you know, they're business owners. You know what I mean? And they're doing things that I didn't do at their age. You know what I'm saying? And they still, the most beautiful thing about it is, amongst the black men, the said black men, the young ones, is that they're receptive. You know, that means we're bridging the gap, because there's a generation, there used to be generational gaps. And I'm grateful to be able to go talk to my elders and then talk to the youth and my peers and be embraced by them, and you know, not being the smartest person in the room, just being an intelligent person in the room, and being able to listen, learn, and guide and teach and lead. You know what I'm saying? That's really bossing up. So shout out to our culture for that. You know, I don't like to get stuck on the same narrative of we're this and we're that, and we it's not, no, man. We came a long way from whips and chains. Now it's whips and chains.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Yeah, we came a long way.
Some things don't change. A lot of things just remain the same. And you know, it's just like you change the backdrop. It's like life on a green screen. You know what I mean? Just change the backdrop, and it's the same sandwich. You know what I mean? Because when they figured out we communicated with the message in our music, and it goes back to like you know, nerd fact, you know, and it goes back to the revolt, the slave revolt in Trinidad and Tobago, where, you know, the people want to know how could the slaves know to revolt the exact same day at the exact same time, because these were Africans. You know, that's why in Trinidad and Tobago, they brought the Chinese over there, and they brought the Indian over there, the Indians from India over there to Trinidad and Tobago, because the revolt that the Africans had over there. And how they were able to revolt was through the music. You know, the Africans could communicate through the bass drum. You know, it was like a Morse code,
Right.
you know, that they communicated through. And the bass drum, the sound traveled for miles and miles. You know how it is when you drum through the hood with your car with the booming system.
Mm-hmm.
The car be 3 miles away and you hear the bass, boom, boom, and it gets louder the closer they got. But anyway, they were able to communicate through the bass drum. You know what I mean? So the slaves revolted at the exact same time.
Right.
And when they put down the revolt, the slave revolt, what they ended up doing was they took away the bass drum from the slaves.
Right.
And that gave birth to what? The steel drum. They allowed them to play the steel drum that they play in the Caribbean, because the sound of the steel drum doesn't carry like the bass drum. You know what I mean? So once they realized that we were able to communicate through the music, and it goes back to the 90s, you know, when I was walking through Atlantic Records, because, you know, like we said before, when I said, hey, Rud, let's do this studio thing, man. And we're going to make millions of dollars off all the people who are not going to make it in the music industry, right? You know, the thing is this. While working in Atlantic Records, when I realized how all that unsolicited music was coming in there and getting thrown in these 55-gallon drums of garbage, they weren't even returning them anymore. They would just throw them in there and like, you want some tapes, take them and record over them. You know, whatever you want to do. You know what I mean? Because we can't use it, we can't play it, we can't listen to it. So unsolicited, blah, 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 right? It was then that I got my little gig at Atlantic Records, right? And then I was privy to the situation where they said, you know, we're moving in a different direction. You know what I mean? Asses wiggling, titties jiggling, murder, death, kill, gangster rap. That's where we going. That's what we're doing. So all those artists who were signed there, the Commons, the Most Def, all those type of artists like that, the Erykah Badu's and everybody, they no longer had a home at a record company. They were done. But they slow walked us when they changed the narrative of the music. You know why? Biggie and them was big in the 90s, right? Early 90s, right? Bad Boy came along, right? They gave us Little Kim.
Mm-hmm.
Little Kim was the prelude to the kiss for the Nicki Minaj and the Cardi B. You know what I mean? Little Kim said she used to be scared of the dick. Now she throw lips to the shit. Everybody thought that was hot. She wore lingerie in her videos and in her photo shoots, right? They set the narrative of what the change gradually.
Right.
Even like, I can even go back to further with that. When cable TV first hit the scene, remember WHT, right?
Yeah,
I don't know if you remember WHT. WHT was the first show that showed openly gay stuff, right? But it wasn't gay man on man. It was gay girl on girl stuff because they knew that society could accept that. And they would slowly change the narrative and push the envelope farther and farther. Now we got TV commercials showing two black men kissing each other, you know, selling AIDS drugs. All right. But back to the music, they gave us Little Kim, right? But she couldn't switch the narrative all by herself. Then you had Little Kim, you had Foxy Brown, because, you know, you still had Mia X and them out there, people that Master P and them were putting out independently who didn't have to go by that narrative that came from the 6 media companies of the world, right? So when they bought out the Master P's and all the independent companies that were putting out what we wanted to put out, what happened? Now they had total control. Mm-hmm. They took all the positive images out. Think about it. I said this a couple days ago on a show. The most popular ornament of clothes to wear in the 90s was what? A HSBCU sweater. All right. We had Carl Kanai and we had HSBC sweaters. You know what I mean? We had Bill Cosby showing us how we should be and who we are. All right. We had him wearing a different HSBCU sweater. You had Spike Lee do the right thing. Look at the movies he put out. He put out the story of Malcolm X, and Hollywood didn't want to finance it. Spike Lee had to call all the black celebrities and say, listen, I want to finish this movie. We got to finish this movie. They're not giving me the money to do it anymore. They stopped the money, and all the black actors put the money up. You know what I mean? We can control our own narrative, but they know that we communicate through music. So they had to change the way we see ourselves and the way we communicate. Because if you look at music in general, right? You will not see any people that don't look like us making in their music. Is Iggy Azalea making the same music as Cardi B? No, because although she loves the culture, she love us, but they're not putting. She ain't talking about she throwing lips to the shit. She ain't talking about stripping and being on a pole, being a prostitute, or none of that. She's not.
But that wasn't her story.
It's not that it wasn't her story. Technically speaking, that wasn't their story either.
I mean,
Yes, Cardi B was a stripper. I get that. You know what I mean? But just like how many rappers told the story about them being drug dealers and murderers and all this stuff, it's just a story being told. Every now and then you're going to have one or two that did it. But the bulk of listen, Megan Thee Stallion, the girl's a college graduate.
Right.
You know, Slim and Baby, they're college graduates.
Right.
But you think because of the music they put out, they were thugs. These men were businessmen, not because they were rocket scientists, that they was cut from a different cloth. No, they went to business school. They knew what they were doing. They came out and dumbed down, you know, to fit a narrative. But what I'm telling you is the plan was set forth just like the 50-year plan book. The plan was set forth to change and ruin our children. And look where we are today. Our rappers are talking about murder, death, kill, and using drugs. The girls are talking about being prostitutes and bad bitches. Can you imagine in 1990, if you called a black woman a bad bitch, you gonna have a fight. She gonna fight you.
Who you calling her?
Like what Latifah, right? Exactly, right? So I'm saying that to say, how we go from who you calling a bitch to I'm a bad bitch. How did that happen?
I don't know. It's something about the psyche, right? That even like when I used to write back then, you want to say the hardest thing. They felt like the hardest thing to say was the realest thing to say. And it wasn't really the reality of what was real. You know, it's even like the glorification of being, you know, the guy that went to prison and came home was glorified in the hood at one point in time. You know what I mean? And I've heard guys say that they wanted that, like to be able to he was praised when he came home. You know, that feeling, that attention.
You know what? You know what's crazy? I shared a video, Leo Cohen. I don't know if y'all saw it. He was talking about the days of the Red Parrot back in the 80s. You know what I mean? See, I had the privilege of partying at the Red Parrot, right? You know, in the late 80s, right? And you know, in the 80s, you know, and he talked about Fat Cat. He said that all the who's who of the drug game would come to the Red Parrot. They were loud, obnoxious, and flashy. Except one guy. He would come to the Red Parrot, sit in the corner with his peoples. He wore a long fur coat, mink coat. He was real quiet. He said, not everybody paid him attention in the Red Parrot. He said, and everyone would say, that's Fat Cat over there. You know what I mean? And Leo Cohen, and you go to my Facebook page, you see it. He talked about how Fat Cat changed his thought pattern about everything he knew about the music industry. Just if you moved the way he moved. He said that he didn't need muscle to be loud and obnoxious. He just needed one fat cat. You know what? And a lot of people don't realize that it was Cat who really gave Russell Simmons and all of them their platform. You know what I mean? Because they control Queens. Think of all the top artists all the artists that came out of Queens. It was Fat Cat and the Encore who Cat would throw these hustlers balls, as they called them, right? and he would bring Grandmaster Flash in them to Queens. He would bring Curtis Blow to Queens. He would bring, it was Run DMC. He LL Cool J. All these different people. Leo had to come to Queens to say, how do I get in bed with this guy Russell Simmons over here? You know what I'm saying? So he had to hang out at the Red Parrot and come to the Encore and all these different places to get in bed with these people. He gave praise to Fat Cat, Lorenzo Nichols. You know what I mean? Shout out the Busy. I know him as Busy. He used to date my sister back in the days. Before he was Fat Cat, he was Busy. You know what I mean? But these is all the things that a lot of people don't know about. So there's always been a plan to change the narrative. You know what I mean? Leo Cohen had a plan to commandeer all this talent and get him in his clutches.
Right.
And he needed Fat Cat Nichols to do it.
Right.
Because they would all come. Cat was the guy.
Right.
He was the biggest man of our era.
Growing up, he was
the most powerful, biggest guy.
Model.
You know what I'm saying?
Growing up, but you really think about it, he was my Michael Jordan.
When you get a chance, go through my Facebook page and read and listen to that thing.
I grew up with his sons. You know what I mean? Like,
we
all grew up together, and I mean that's what we had. Like Cat was who we had in South Jamaica.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That was who you looked up to. You heard stories about what was going on. You saw cars coming through. You know what I mean? We wasn't allowed to do certain things. And Southside back then was black owned. It was a lot of black businesses in Southside then. I guess it was a great time to be alive then. You know what I'm saying? And they ushered, government ushered in coke, and the drug thing came into the hoods. So we still recovering. It set us back with them. I'll never stay on that narrative. Like, we are people that have been traumatized, but this whole earth has been going through a situation here. You know what I mean? As human beings, we've all been going through something here, and like I said earlier, I think we all have a little bougie in us. We're human beings. I bet you the animals think we're the most bougiest animals on the planet.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's where the innovation comes from to be who we are.
Absolutely.
We got great minds.
Hey, I gotta tell y'all this, man, because you know what? We just went for the banana in the tailpipe trick, man, because like Foxy and them wasn't the first females that was doing sex on stage. We had Madonna. Madonna did a sex scene
I was thinking
at the concert with a bed on stage with the guy. It was
Sylvia Robinson with Pillow Talk.
Yeah, I'm saying it just like it wasn't the Foxy's.
Norma Jean.
Foxy and them was after that.
What's Norma Jean? Marilyn Monroe.
Yeah, we get caught up because now we trying to follow them. Now
right. That's the way to go.
Yeah, that was successful. We go back to the oldest profession in America. But another thing, I'm just talking from a music perspective now, because like before when we had Sherry Knight on a panel. Look, when we started talking about money, while y'all was having this conversation, I'm doing my DJ thing. I'm putting a playlist together, and I typed in money just to see what comes up, what kind of songs. And I'm telling you, this controls a lot of young people's mindset. Most of the music is bought between people from 18 years old to 23. That's where most of the people are purchasing music, right? I'm looking at the playlist. I see Maya, Money Can't Buy Love. Rick Ross, R. Kelly, put some money on it. Spending Money. Sammy, Plenty Money. Rihanna, Umbrella, the Money remix. Money Over Love. Private Entertainer. Ass on the Floor. Like, we wasn't talking about that before. We were talking about the OJs for the love of money. Like people will steal from their mother. People will rob their own brother. That's basically where this conversation started off. That example that she gave us that's in the news now, where this guy, pretty much did all that because he wanted to buy a video game. We was against that lyrically. We wasn't talking about that. We wasn't giving that no airtime. You was a bird if you did something like that.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy.
Now they took the shock value out of the media. When you heard people get shot or something, that wasn't as common as it is now. Now guns is the leading killer of kids. And it's not cancer. It's not like cancer number 3 now. You know what I mean? So there's been a shift. Media, music played a part, but there's a lot of other mechanisms played a part, and that pandemic put people in a fight or flight mode. That fight or flight mindset is real. You know what I mean? And I'm telling you, more people during the pandemic, it was more like gloom and doom, more than happy people. Like people were like spending their money, and they were creating a narrative because they need to stimulate the economy, bro. That's at the end of the day. There's stuff going on right now. There's everybody I know is sneezing, coughing, got a cold, still got these same symptoms, but they're not pushing the panic button because guess what? It's holidays. It's the stimulation for the economy right now. You got Black Friday sales, Thanksgiving, Christmas, Valentine's Day, all of this stuff is just to stimulate the economy. They're not going to push that panic button now and say, COVID is back, shut the whole city down. No, they're going to let you spend that money. After all that, then it might be timing because it's all about, can we make money off of it?
It's a corporation.
Can we make money off of it? If we can't make, if it ain't no dollars in it, they're not doing it. They'll let you walk around and not knowing that COVID is back. Like, I'm not per se a Dame Dash fan, but some of his mentality is right. Like, if you identify something and it's your pet peeve and you don't like it, do something about it.
Right.
Do something about it, man.
Right.
Like, Ice Cube didn't like the way they was putting those NBA players out the pasture. Well, he created another league for them that they still have some game left in them. They want to play. We could do the 3-on-3. They won't let Dame buy into the NFL, no matter how much money he got. Okay, he got to start his own league. You know what I mean? He started, it might be arena football, but he started something with 6 teams, right? So now he's not going to treat the players like that because at the end of the day, if all the black people walked up off the field, it wouldn't be no NFL. It wouldn't be no NBA. But they trying to change the culture because every year the percentage gets higher with players from across the pond. And that's taking more opportunity away from us. That's just like letting people come in from other countries to take our jobs pretty much.
Or create businesses.
And they painting, that's why they blowing up every little hiccup that one of these players do. They started this with Allen Iverson just because he dressed like a hip hopper. He wasn't a bad guy. He was an excellent ball player. He made him a lot of money. Right? That's what they'll focus on. They'll focus on the hiccups. Or the guy that had a domestic abuse case with his wife. Out of all the people, you focus on that, but what about all the people that's donating money to organizations, building schools? LeBron ain't the only one that's doing the right thing with his money. There's a lot of people that's doing the right thing with his money. But back to the subject of the bougie, we was programmed to think it ain't tricking if you got it.
Yeah.
It ain't tricking if you got it. How many times you heard that?
I used to say that all the
So why
time.
you tricking on this? Why you tricking on that? It ain't tricking if you got it.
Yeah. I said that for many years, right?
It's not tricking if you got it. It's only tricking if you're supposed to have been doing something else with it, and then, you got caught up for a minute and, you did some unnecessary or some goofy stuff. But listen, you can't take it with you. Like my man said, you can't take. You gotta spend it. You gotta enjoy it a little bit. It can't be all gloom and doom. There was times when young men didn't even think they would get to be 35 years old. So who's gonna have a plan thinking about
I was one of them.
trying to get it? So you ain't thinking about no Social Security check when you in your 20s.
No.
You hoping you make it to 30.
I'm thinking 30 is too old.
But now we became the people that need to be the example now.
Right.
So now it's our turn. You know what I mean? I think through all the shots they threw at us, and we still standing, you know, we are rare, but there's a lot of other people like us out here that has a similar mindset and have a similar desire to make a change. And these are people we need to find and connect with. And it's not our friends. You're going to get a lot of support from strangers more than our friends. We always look to our friends and family to be the biggest supporters, but that's not always the case.
Right. So
we got to reach out and we got to surround ourselves with people that's on the same mission as us. That's how you make a change. It don't matter if they family, friends. You need people you could trust, of course. That we already have that network.
Right.
Now we just got to build off of that. That's the picture for me. If I had the paintbrush and I could paint it, we need to do more of what we're doing. We need to have more Dame Dashes, more Tyler Perry's that's building movie houses. They can make their own movies. They can create their own station. They can have their own platform. They can show what they want to show. Now, if they get these in these positions and they do the same thing, they say, hey, we're going to make money doing the same thing everybody else do. We're going to portray us as this and as that. Then that would be sad. You know what I mean? So we're going to get our opportunity. You just got to hang in there. When your opportunity comes, be ready. Because you might only get one shot at it. Make your next move your best move. That's what I'm saying from DJ Rudd.
Absolutely. Make your next move your best move. I'm going to pick up on that before I drop it. I'm riding with that one.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
That's dope. That's dope, man. But you know what? We had a great show today, man. Broken Bougie, man. And we you know, we had some good laughs and fun with it, but it's a reality for the community. It's a reality, man. Stop being broken bougie. You know, let's invest in things that matter. Let's invest in the family. You know, let's build up the family again. You know, let's each one teach one. You know, let's get back to where we was. You know, let's change the narrative. You know, we know what the problem is. Now we have to find a solution to get the youth to understand that, you know, trill music, whatever they call it, the murder, death, kill, you know, the gunplay, the stripping, the prostituting, that's not who we are, you know, and people will set us up to fail, man, you know, and they can't set me up to fail because they know it's nothing they can do for me. Yeah, I'm a threat to them. But the kids, if you build it, they'll come. And you tell a lie long enough, it becomes the truth. So if you allow them to do all this stuff that you won't let your own children do, and you'll let our children do it, we're going to lose our children. And we have lost our children, so we got to get them back. We got to figure out a way to get them back. And that's my 2 cents, y'all. Y'all keep the change.
Take us home, Si.
Oh man, good show. This is Gynesis Radio Network. Feel Good Radio show. TP Squared, I'm More to Life. I mean, I just did all it, man. Thank y'all. Thank you guys for having me, man. I appreciate it. Great topic, great show.
All right, y'all. So that's it for the show today. It was a great time. I hope y'all enjoyed it. We're going to see y'all next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Pick up one for you guys. Drop it, y'all. Peace out.